Oh, man, we gotta say goodbye to Mr. Echo. I was not prepared for this, man. And I wasn't prepared for that terrible CGI. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for Lost, this one's going to be doing my next review for Season 3 of Lost, this is for Episode 5, titled The Cost of Living. So, good God, wasn't expecting this type of episode, what the hell just happened? So, okay, rest in peace to Mr. Echo, I'll start with, what the hell, I didn't expect him to go this soon, and there is some interesting details that I will share about this death and this scene going down later in the review, but let's just jump into the episode and we'll kind of build up to it. So, I mean, surprise, surprise, this is a Mr. Echo episode. We get more lore and more backstory on his character and obviously where he grew up. And we see him, obviously, as a priest and stuff, and we see kind of what he's doing. And you have this gang that kind of comes in here and kind of tries to order everybody around and literally shoots one of their people on sight. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, this son of a bitch needs to go right away. And Mr. Echo takes care of business. I gotta say, it's one of the most gangster scenes I've seen on Lost, where he lures this guy into his church, he lures this guy in, and he talks to him, and he's like, yeah, take my hand, and stuff like that, and he tries to pull the whole, redeeming father type of thing, and then, boom, gets him right then and there, and slices him up, literally right in front of the cross, literally right like that, and goes out and walks out in front of his people, and is covered in blood, and everybody is looking at Mr. Echo as some scary priest now. Even though, and I gotta admit, I felt bad for him, because he did the right thing. I'm sorry, this guy was a piece of shit for what he did to innocent people. Mr. Echo took charge, and Mr. Echo protected that town. And they all looked at him as a psycho, they all looked at him as a crazy guy, and he didn't know how to react to that. Seriously, seriously sad. I mean, really, really sad. Now, in the current day, you have Mr. Echo that actually wakes up from, of course, when John Locke rescued him in Episode 3, of course, in the cave. And he kind of goes wandering off, and he kind of has these hallucinations of his brother kind of throughout a lot of this episode. And you're kind of wondering what this is all kind of building up to. And we see that he is trying to find his brother for a reason, but we're not exactly sure what that is yet. Now, we also have the stuff with the others back on their island, which we now know that's two separate islands. And I thought one of the interesting things is that Jack, being what he is, being a doctor, is now tasked with the idea that apparently he has to perform surgery on Ben Linus, because Ben Linus is having to take something out of his back or whatever. I forget the details, but he has to do an operation on him, and they need Jack to do it because he's a spinal surgeon, right? And he needs to have that removed. And obviously, with that being the case, Jack is the only one that they can rely on. So you have Juliet and even Ben that go in there and kind of ask him to do this. And, they have no choice but to do that. And Jack is kind of finding this amusing, and he's like, I'm not saving you. Like, I'm not doing any of that. And it's like, well, things are going to get a lot worse for your friends, and we will have to probably, murder them. And of course, they kind of threaten Jack, so Jack has kind of no choice but to perform this surgery, even though he doesn't want to do it. And he rejects Ben the first time. He rejects him. But in a very interesting sequence near the ending of the episode, we don't see too much on the others, but I did find this to be interesting. When we check back on the others later on in the episode, you have Juliet that is standing across the glass, of the prison cell, and she looks at Jack, and she says, she's like, look at my video, right? Look at my video. And she's like, I want you to watch this video and you can understand, the whole brainwashing thing. And Jack looks at the video and it's a big reveal. Juliet filmed a video of herself with cue cards telling Jack that I'm afraid, you have to do this. He's gonna kill your friends. You have to do this. Go along. I'm gonna turn this video off, but you have to tell me to turn the video off. Jack's like, turn the video off. And she's just like, you have no choice. Like, I'm on your side. That's basically her way of saying, I'm on your side, Jack. Like, Juliet is on his side. She wants to get out of here too. But for now, Jack has to swallow his pride. And Juliet basically told him that in code via the video, which I thought was insanely done. Now, we can basically clarify this. Juliet is on our side. I mean, if you didn't need more proof than this, I don't know what else is going to prove it to you. Juliet is a good person, for sure. Doesn't mean she hasn't had to do horrible things for Ben. I mean, that definitely could be the case still, but she at least is proving, where she stands, which I think is really good. Now, we get to see in this one Mr. Eko that finds his brother, and I thought this was pretty insane. He finds his brother and actually kind of apologizes to him and kind of has a final moment with him. Now, he heads back after doing that, and you have one of the most insane sequences ever. He's walking back, he sees the shadow monster, and unlike season 2 where he just stood there and took it and the shadow monster went away, the shadow monster grabs him and takes him away and kills Mr. Eko. R.I.P. Mr. Eko, I suppose. Insane. Now, I got to admit, this is a death that was very sudden to me. I didn't really know how to feel about it. I kind of still don't know how to fully, wrap my head around it, but this is what I'll say about the death. I like that it was given in an episode where you conclude his story. It very much felt like in the flashbacks that they gave you the remainder of his story, which I liked. And I like that people look at him as this, crazy guy, kind of the tragedy to everything, and then you see him now, you see what he's doing, everybody's kind of intimidated by Mr. Eko, even on the island. It kind of comes full circle. He gets his final moment, hallucinating his brother, which I thought was really well done, and finally he is killed after him making peace with his brother in his imagination, which I thought was really cool. I thought that was a really cool moment. Now, here's why the death I felt was kind of goofy. The way the scene went down was really bad. It was really bad, and I didn't like the way that the CGI was horrible. The way that the monster just takes him away and washes him away and then kills him, and then they're just like, oh, is he dead? It's like, yeah, he's dead. And then that's the end of the episode. I'm like, okay, I understand what the writers were going for. I like the setup for his death, but the execution of his death I thought was very poorly done. It felt like a really cheap way of sending Mr. Eko out. And especially because of the CGI, looked really cheap with the shadow monster. It did not look natural. It did not look good whatsoever. I don't know. It was strange. It was very weirdly done, and I don't know how I feel about it. Now, to delve into a bit of a fun fact here, apparently the actor for Mr. Eko wanted off. He wanted off of the role. So I do take that into consideration when I'm rating this, but I will still say, yes, the writers did what they could, and I think they wrote it in a good enough way, but I think his actual death scene could have been handled in a bit of a better way. To be honest, I think they could have done it in a more epic, more exciting fashion. And I honestly admit, I think Mr. Eko should have died back in the season 2 finale, admittedly, or at least in season 3, episode 3. I feel like John should have found him dead or something, because honestly, to give you false hope that he's going to make it, that he's going to survive after a fake out, then just to kill him 2 episodes later, very cheap on the writers. I have to admit, I wasn't a big fan of it. So for that, I'm going to give the episode an 8.5 out of 10. I liked it still. I liked the death, but I just didn't like some of the execution things that they did. So, you know what? No, I'll settle for an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is my final rating that I'll give. It was mostly well done with a little bit of rushed writing and a little bit of wonky writing in the ending there, I would say. But that's just my opinion, of course. Let me know your opinions. How do you feel about Mr. Eko's death? Would you have killed him off in this way, knowing that the actor wanted off, which obviously you got to respect the actor's wishes, but still, were there other ways to go about this? I would say there kind of were. But again, that's just my opinion. So post comments, post your opinions down below. Of course, guys, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, be sure to click subscribe and tune up to any of the videos for Lost. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Lost. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.